Welcome to the Smart Influencer Podcast. I'm Corinne.
And I'm Christina.
And together we help digital entrepreneurs streamline their businesses, maximize revenue, and finally feel in control of their time.
Every week we share tried and true strategies, proven systems, and expert interviews to help you grow your influence and income without the burnout. So if you're ready to get smarter about how you run your business, you are in the right place.
But before we dive in today, if you love what you hear, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you find today's conversation helpful, please share it with a friend who could use it too.
So today we are chatting with Shannon Acheson from shannonAcheson.com about her Clarity Ladder framework. And I'm super excited about this today. So welcome to the show, Shannon.
Thank you both so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about this.
Us too.
Yeah. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Shannon Acheson, obviously. I started online longer ago than 15 years. I always say 15 years because that's when I started my other business, which is a home and lifestyle site. And I wrote a couple of traditionally published books and stuff like that with that, worked with some big brands, over 100 big brands, actually. ShannonAcheson.com sort of came out of that in the I love business. I love talking about business. I love encouraging women. And so it sort of just seemed like a natural next step at, I'd thought about it for a couple of years, but when I sort of got to the 15-year mark, I'm like, no, this is a good time to sort of to do this. And so my heart, is for women entrepreneurs, especially, and to encourage them and sort of give them the step-by-step. The best place I find to start in a business is with what you already know. And since I've been doing this for a long time, that's what I already know.
Well, it's great that you're following your own advice.
Yeah, always good, right?
Exactly.
So this topic is it's super exciting to me because A, we love a good framework, and B, clarity. I mean, it's something that I think seems so obvious, but is really, I think, hard to do once you get into it, really, is, having clarity on your business, because many of us, we like to chase the squirrels and go off in a million different directions. So we're very excited to dive into this topic today.
Yeah.
So
you're so right.
Yeah.
The squirrels, shiny objects.
They're all over the place, right?
They
And
are.
it's so easy to end up, down a path you didn't intend to be on.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
and we saw this in our mastermind group in the group coaching that we do. We had everyone they were supposed to pick one goal, like a single goal. And for the first time that we ran it, we weren't it's a learning process for us too. Like we didn't structure that question tightly enough. And it was so hard for people to do. Like everyone's single goal was actually three goals. Like even when we think we're narrowing it to one, we can't get there. Like the clarity piece is so hard. Because it feels like we have to do so many things. So I'm super excited to hear what your tips are for this.
Yeah, for sure. It's so true though, and it's something that you can go back to too, right? Like once you have that clarity down, I definitely write it down because then you can go back to it when you start to feel that scattered everywhere, do all the things feeling again, right?
Right. Almost like a mission statement, kind of, when you feel like you're getting off track.
For
So
sure.
where do we start with finding clarity?
You sort of need to decide what so I like to call it the clarity ladder in my Shannon Acheson business. And it's sort of a few steps. And one of them is you start by defining and looking at sort of what your current season is. Like, where are you right now? Are you a young mom with toddlers or babies and you have literally like nap time to work and that is it? Or are you sort of, your kids have grown out empty nester and now you've got all day again. And, that's sort of the season that you're in really defines sort of how much time you can invest in your business. And so that to me is the place that you start when you are pivoting something, when you're going to go create a new product, when you're going to launch a whole new business. Any of those things, you really need to know what season you're in and sort of the bandwidth and time that you have to go with that. And even money too. Like if you're going to look at investing in ads or courses, like to take education yourself, you need to know what season you're in. And so that is like the very first place to start, in my opinion, for sure.
And that makes so much sense because I know for myself, regardless of my season, it's kind of like when I'm hungry, your eyes are always bigger than your stomach. So it's like when I decide I want to take on a project, I want to go all in, but that might not be what my schedule allows.
It's true. It's true. And it might not be what your bandwidth allows either, right?
Right.
Like, there are times in our lives where we're not sleeping so well, or there are times in, perimenopause, yay, or young babies or whatever, right? And so you need to take those things into account because, yeah, we always want to bite off more than we can chew, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and risk threshold. I feel like risk
Yes.
threshold changes in your phase of life.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I built mine, I it was all just extra income. So
Mhm.
I could take big risks. It really didn't matter. It didn't impact anything. And it was a very different season when all of a sudden it was my income that paid the bills. So it's such a
Yeah.
smart place to start, but I've never thought of it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. A
We're
lot of us just think
focusing
in
on the
terms of,
constraints.
yeah, because we always think, okay, what do we need? What do we want to do? And there's nothing wrong with dreaming. By all means, dream and think big, but you do have to know what your time, money, risk, bandwidth sort of restrictions are in the season that you're in, and recognize that it won't necessarily always be the same. And it could change in the future, which means you can, sort of pivot, expand, do what you need to do with the business at that point.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Okay, so
so
that's step one.
That
Find your
is step
season.
one.
All right.
Um, Step two is sort of clarity and goals. So, like, what are your core values? What are your goals? What do you want to do with this? Um, what are you willing to do for this? What ultimate goal do you have? And then what are some smaller goals that you have? And so that's just sort of figuring out, if you love, I mean, this isn't really, it's not really core values, but like if you have a thing against MLMs, let's say, like for whatever reason, that's not going to be something you're going to want to do. Like you just need to sort of outline what you want to accomplish and what your beliefs are about things.
Mhm.
It's the second step, really.
Yeah, and that makes sense when you think about that. Like, you don't want to go down a direction that you don't feel comfortable with. So it kind of like gets the squirrels going in a certain direction instead of
Yes,
all over
yeah,
the place.
because otherwise they'll just go crazy all over the place. Yeah, so you kind of need to know what the ultimate goal is. And akin to like an MLM or something like that, like, do you want to have someone else's framework in place already, right? Like, if you do, that's great. You run with that. If you want to totally 100% sort of set the things up yourself, you want to create all of it yourself, then that's a totally different direction and goal to have, right? And that points to two totally different businesses.
Right, and probably a whole different set of things that you have to do. Because if you're taking it on
Yes.
yourself, you have to do your SOPs. Like there's a lot of
Mhm.
other things that come with that you are now in charge of.
Right. And there's a whole lot of like I mean I've done all kinds of things. Like when I say like I did an online business for 15 years, I have, but previous to that like I sold life insurance and mutual funds and that's like a whole other world in the financial world, right? Because you have some serious bumpers of what you can say and what you can do
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And then long before that, I was just a graphic designer in a advertising studio. So like there are definitely different things that you um goals for each of those things, right? When I was a graphic designer, I totally wanted to do it all myself. So I was on contract and all of that. And then when I did the life insurance and mutual funds, that was I'm home with my kids all day, every day, and I can do this in the evening. So the goals were very different
Mhm.
to when I started each of the many businesses I've
Can I pause
I've
for a
done over the
second
years.
because you said a couple of things I really love, and I want to highlight them because
Yeah.
one, I love the examples you gave, right? Like what your business goals might be, right? Like that maybe you need the structure and you need the framework, and then in another case, maybe you want to control it all without any judgment about what one would take. Like with what you do, I feel like it's kind of like when I look at an organizer and someone gives me a Marie Kondo method, I'm like, that won't work for me, and you didn't learn anything about me. Like I love how individualized what you're talking about is, right? Like anyone listening can take exactly everything you're going to say today and apply it to their personality, their business goals, like whatever they want to do. Like I love that you're taking into account like I think what makes our industry so cool, right? Like they're all so different. And then the other thing I liked is beyond like each person might be different, one person might be different, right? Like you're
Yeah.
talking about like those are very different. I guess it's with your seasons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to change your goal. It's
Yeah.
okay to make the pivot. And I love that. It's one of again, probably the other thing I love about our business is that we can pivot and do something completely different 5 years from now than we're doing now. And still, all of that can be part of the successful business track.
And you
So,
always learn so much from each of those things, right? Like if you've
yeah.
pivoted because you've had to, because something didn't work, that's okay too, because it's not, someone told me the other day, I forget now what it was. It's not a failure, it's a learning experience. And
Mhm.
so yeah, like you are different in different parts of your life, and your business, your employment, whatever it is, can shift with that, and that's totally okay.
And let's be honest, I mean, we are in a season right now when we're recording this episode that Google has
Mhm.
totally changed the way people are approaching their businesses. And maybe there are influencers that are like leaving the industry and, looking for their next act, what's going to happen next. And we are full throttle. I think this episode is very relevant right now because of what is going on in our industry. I think people are really starting to question where they're going, what they're doing, how they're going
Mhm.
to pivot.
How
Right.
they're going to pivot, how they're going to make money if,
Mhm.
like you said, Google changed everything. My world is, bloggers. Like I know gazillions of bloggers, like old school, like used to go to the conferences and all that stuff, right? And so, it's changed how they make money. And so they've had to pivot, even if they're not necessarily leaving, which some of them are, but if they're not necessarily leaving, they have to figure out a different way to make money for this current season.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And in that, you go through these steps to find out how much time you have, how
Right.
risk adverse you are.
Well, and that's why, like, I
Yeah.
wanted to stop to talk about that because I feel like you've created almost a unicorn here, right? Like, you're giving a framework, you're giving a system, but a system that works literally for anyone and in a state of chaos, right? Like, it's
Right.
very hard to develop a framework or a system that works in chaos. And I feel like that's where
Right.
you're taking us. So,
I think my
it
brain
is.
works very step by step. It's always been that way for home stuff. And so this just made sense to sort of do it this way, to sort of sort through the jumbled mess that
Yeah.
is in our brains, right?
Yeah.
That's what I love about Christina. Christina's brain works the same way.
I
So,
was
yeah,
just gonna
cool.
say, I'm like, oh, my kindred spirit. I love
Mhm.
them. I love
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't
those
know
too.
that.
I
That's
invented
awesome.
a word called sorganizing.
Oh,
Mhm.
Half sorting, half organizing.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that's just how my brain works. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that. But I
that's
think
awesome.
even too, it's like it's that season of like or that area of self-discovery, right? Like, you
Mhm.
hear all these consultants say, "Oh, we're gonna hop on a discovery call." Well, it's almost like you're doing a
Right.
discovery call with yourself to
Yeah,
Oh, I love that.
where
yeah,
you're at and like let's get the pulse of where we're at before we move on to what we're going to do.
yeah. Yeah, you have to sort that out for sure first.
Yeah. Okay. Yay. What's next?
The third thing is to outline your audience. So once you've sort of figured out what your goals are, your current season, so your bandwidth and your time and stuff, is to outline your audience. Like who are you going to talk to? Who are you going to serve? Who are you going to ultimately sell to? But really, who are you going to serve? Who can you help? There's this really awesome quote by Rory Vaden from Brand Builders Group, and he says, "You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were." And so, that is so true. You don't and you also don't have to be like a million steps down the road because we all get this imposter syndrome, right? We're all like, oh my gosh, like there's this person who's better than me, this person who's further along than me. But you're like, no, you only have to be like 10 steps ahead of the person that you're going to serve. So, I interviewed someone on my own podcast last week, and she's like, I started because I had 10 years experience as a mom. And I'm like, yeah, like there are moms who have no years experience or 1 year experience, and they're looking at that mom who's been a mom for 10 years and they're like, yes, she's got more knowledge about this than I do and she can help me. And so, yeah, so step 3 is to outline your audience, who you're going to serve, really.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's really good advice. And I tend to forget that. Like, I feel like I need to do, like, I have to have it all figured out before I jump in to do something.
Yeah.
And this came up recently in my life. I was asked to teach a college course and I was a little I really wanted to do it, very excited about it, but I was
Very
really
cool.
nervous about it. And my mentor said to me, she's like, you just have to be one lesson ahead of everybody else. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
She's like, just one lesson.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm like,
true.
huh, okay, I could do that. It was like that when I did Cub Scouts too. I didn't know any of the Boy Scout, like the, knot tying nonsense and like all that stuff. And I just had
Yeah.
to be one lesson ahead of those 10-year-olds.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's so true. You
Yeah.
have something to share. You have things that you can teach people and share with people and help them implement and help them take action on, which is really the big thing, right? Not just information, because, we all get a little information overload and information's good, but to help them take action on something and make a change in their life.
Right.
Yeah.
I find that
Yeah.
I really connect with people who love to learn. So
Yeah.
I think that if you have that mindset, you're always learning and you're excited to learn and take on
Mhm.
new things. And it's when we stop learning and say we know it all, I think
Yeah.
that you grow stale,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're
especially in
not
this
you're not
industry.
serving anyone at that point, right? Because you're not helping anyone with that, which is so funny because that's the total opposite. That's what imposter syndrome makes you want to think, that you need
Yeah,
to have it all figured out. But at that point, if that's what you think, yeah, you're not going to help anybody.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. So what's after that? You outline your audience and then what?
Yeah. Number four is to choose a business model that aligns with all of that. So by business model, I mean, are you going to create something, start something, or partner with someone to say something? So that's sort of the get paid framework that I teach. And so by creating something, I mean products, courses, downloads, PDFs. Like, are you going to create something that helps someone?
Hmm.
By serving, that's sort of those one-to-one or done for you services like coaching, design work if you're going to do something for someone else, VA work, stuff like that. And then partnering is, are you going to build your business or your main? So when I say like get paid framework, like your main business model, you can have other ones secondary to that, but you need to have one to focus on, right?
Hmm.
And so, sorry, so partner, the third one is affiliates, sponsorships, and ads. So that is really like it can still work in, despite everything that Google has changed. You just really have to be focused on who you're serving and what you're doing with that a lot more, and what problem you can solve with those services. So that is really, it is, those are sort of what my blogging business was, right? I partnered with sponsors, I had ad networks, and then affiliate sales. And so you can do all of those things, but you need to choose the main thing that is going to be your main sort of business model.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
So again, we're pulling those squirrels in.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because they'll just run wild and you'll make no progress. You'll spin your wheels and
Yeah.
yeah, you'll be
Oh, I
like, oh,
gotta
I
go
could do
do this.
this. I could do that. A
Yeah.
little of this. And you can, but you need to have a focus and a primary thing that whether that's coaching, whether that's up to you for your bandwidth, right? Like if you have very little time and very little bandwidth, you might want something that's sort of what they used to call one and done, right? You create a course and you sell the course.
Hmm.
If you've got a little more time, maybe you do want to do coaching or something like that. And if it's something that you're new-ish at and you still want to learn more, despite being further ahead than the people that you're serving, coaching is a great place to start because you can learn an awful lot doing one-on-one with people, right? Because then it's not just someone's buying your course and they go on their merry way. It's you're actually talking and interacting with those people. So there are pluses and minuses to all of those business models. So you have to choose the one based on, your current season, your values and goals, your audience, and sort of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this because conceptually, like I'm there, right? Like I get it that like of course it makes more sense that what you focus on is what's going to get done and that's where you'll be successful. And then the reality of the business climate we live in is that you can invest everything in say SEO and you're going to monetize with ads and then all of a sudden a couple good algorithm changes and now like your income evaporated overnight. So
Yep.
if you were only chasing that goal, you are now in like you're in deep trouble, right? And we've
Yep.
seen it. Like that's happened in
Yep.
the past year. Like people
Yep.
are folding left and right. So, do you have some sort of framework or some way to address like how long do you focus primarily on that goal before you can introduce a secondary goal or like
Right.
how do we balance that? Because it is a risk to
It,
put everything in. Or if you're going to
it
be an
is.
entrepreneur, you accept that like you're going to put all in and then you could wake up tomorrow and be broke, right? Like how do we wrangle the reality of where we are?
So yeah. So the reality of that is that you sort of have to give it a go. So SEO, yes, it takes work. At this point, I'm not a big fan because my blog did experience like the Google issues with all of that and ad revenue went down. The thing is that I had sort of built that and then added on after, right? So I
Right.
have courses, I have digital products. I can, if I choose to, do one-on-one consults and stuff like that with my other business. So I am a big fan of don't put all your eggs in one basket. However, I'm also I truly believe that you can only focus well on one thing at a time. So if you are, you know, attempting to build a course, you're not going to be able to spend the time to focus on SEO on that side of things, right? If you want to work with sponsors genuinely and truly, you are not going to be able to spend the time that it takes to do those sponsorships. And like when I say that, like I, I'm sure we all get these emails all the time that are like, I want to sponsor a post on your blog and give me a backlink and on an old post. And yet that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being paid hundreds or thousands of dollars to showcase a brand's thing in your house, right? Like we have all of our appliances we did not pay for. We worked with the brands and, shared them on our website. Now, this is going back. Not all brands are doing big things like that anymore. It totally depends. But like you can only spend so much time focusing on something, right? So this comes back to recognizing your season. If you are in a very limited time season, you're going to have to choose one of those business models to at least focus on for a little bit. And the options are you focus on it until it gets to a place of generating a decent income. So a few hundred, a few thousand, whatever that is for you in your season. Like you said, risk is different in each
Right.
season. Sometimes you don't need the money, sometimes you do. So either until it starts generating that, and then you can pivot a little bit and work on something else, and your SOPs are in place and all of that, right? It's functioning and it needs maintenance, not building. Or it doesn't work in the time that you've given yourself, and you either give yourself a bit more time to try it or you pivot to a different model. And so you really have to choose sort of where you're going to put your time and energy. And I am a big fan of multiple income streams from the same topic audience
Right.
sort of thing, right? Like I'm not like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. Like
Right.
get known for one thing and then pivot a little bit to something that's related.
So do all those 4 steps. And at step 4, you pick that business model, you implement it well by focusing on it, then you systematize it, like once
Yeah.
it's proven,
Yeah.
right? And then you step out and add the next thing that
Right.
fits.
Right.
Like I like that
Personally,
as a framework.
personally, I think like everybody, regardless of everybody on like who has a digital business online should have a basic funnel in place with a really good freebie that really matches a problem that your audience has that leads to a low ticket offer that is like the next logical step that solves one single problem, not some big broad I just made it just because somebody told me low ticket was great. That
Right.
leads to, that you have some sort of upsell to that is the next logical step or a personal sort of invite to be like, I can do one-on-one coaching or whatever. A very basic minimum funnel of digital products, because once you get that set up, you just have to promote it. Be that with ads, be that with social media, to your email list, whatever. That is a very baseline thing, in my opinion, to have in a digital business. If you want to create a big course or a membership or something that's more like memberships can be more stable income, courses can be bigger income, right? Like if you do a launch or whatever, they're priced higher. I think those sort of come like I'm telling you to choose a business model based on the things you've done already, but I have definite opinions of what I
Right.
think should come first, second, and third. However, in order to make it work for everyone, I'll share those opinions, but also ultimately it's your choice what you want to focus on, right? I have a blog friend who for years is insistent that she's going to master SEO. I love her and she's amazing. And I wish she would take some other things into consideration. And so it is what it is. So yeah, choose a business model that aligns, but do keep in mind the things that are working right now
Right.
versus what used to work all the time. SEO still works.
Right.
If you are talking about something, that people are searching for. One of my blog friends, she was blogging about sourdough before everybody went gaga for sourdough back, in 2020. And so those are still some of her absolutely most popular posts because it's something people are looking for. If you're blogging about something or sharing about something that's random and doesn't have even a cult kind of following, that's SEO is not really going to help you that much. Does that make sense? Clarified a little bit more.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
and now, I mean, like sourdough is the thing. I mean, there
Yeah.
was just a thing yesterday where Taylor Swift is into sourdough.
Yeah. We
So,
saw that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So there it goes again, right?
so she said, if you have a sourdough blog, I've probably been on it. So, like,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you never know when that's going to happen,
It's true. It's
right? You
true.
don't know. And I've always said, like, SEO isn't dead because the end user is still using the internet pretty much the
Mhm.
way they've always used the internet.
Yeah.
It's just how the
Just the
internet
results
is.
that turn
Yeah.
back.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you still have to kind of do the
And it
work.
depends. I think it depends on your industry too, right? Like I am very, like we talked about, very step by step. So I'm like, here's how you decorate, here's how you organize. Well, guess what? AI can tell them that in about this much space on a web, like on the top of the Google search right now, right? So it has to be a lot more sort of personal. Here, one of my most popular posts on my Homemade Lovely blog is my experience with the IKEA Ektorp couch. Like,
Mm,
because people have bought those things for a gazillion years and they want to know what people think of them, right? And
Right.
that's a totally SEO driven post.
right.
So it really, that really, really depends.
Yeah.
SEO is good and bad, and there's lots of other ways to get traffic besides SEO.
And I think what this has shown us, this season of flux in our industry is
Mm.
that, and the experts have been preaching it for years, is to not put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And people, ignored that advice and did put all their eggs in one basket, whether it's SEO, Pinterest, Facebook, whatever. And now it's come back to bite us all. But what you're saying is to figure out, like, I like what you're saying and how we're going about to figure out how we're going to pivot from there and where we should go.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
almost like
And
putting your mask on in the airplane, like, right, if you
yeah.
their thing comes out, put it on you first before you can help somebody else. So figure out that first thing you want
Yeah.
to do, focus on that, get that situated before you move on
Well,
to
because you can't, it's really hard to launch, say, a course, a membership, a digital product, and a coaching thing all at once because your people are going to go, what the heck? Like, what do I focus on? People are overwhelmed.
Right.
People are bombarded by stuff. And if you don't go, nope, I'm focusing on, okay, let's choose. This is the course, this is the course, this is the course, this is the course. Here you go. Here's what I've got for you. It's a course, like, right? Like, and it's not a matter of what it is. I'm just saying, like, one thing for you to focus on, but one thing at a time for your people to focus on too.
Mhm. Yeah, it definitely makes you look more put together when you're going at
Yeah.
it with one thing than with
Yeah.
four things.
It feels better too, honestly, because otherwise you're like, oh, what am I sharing today? Like, is it the course? Is it the digital product? Is it the coaching? Like, what am I doing? And so when I say choose a business model, I mean choose a primary business model to focus on or
Mhm.
a product even to focus on at a time. Not forever.
Right.
Definitely not forever. You can pivot, you can change, but give yourself a timeline, be it 3 months, 6 months, a year to focus on one thing, promote the one thing, do launches, whatever you want to do, and then pivot from there, whether it works and you've systematized it or it didn't work and you need to do something else.
Mhm. And then you can make sure too for that one thing you've dotted all the I's, you've crossed all the T's, you've done everything properly,
Yeah.
and you didn't skip any steps. Whereas if you're trying to do three things, you're probably going to skip steps and you're going to cut corners and it's going to be done, but it's not going to be good. It's just going to be
Yeah.
done. And at least this way you're doing something and seeing it through.
Right. And let me clarify though too, done is better than perfect.
Yes,
And
I
when I
agree.
when I say that, when I'm saying I don't mean like choose 3, 6 months or a year to finish the thing that you're
Right.
building. No, you put it together as quick as you can, as well as you can, and launch it and do it and work like
Yeah.
don't yeah, I'm not yeah, don't
No, and
work
I
on it
didn't
for a
mean that
year
either.
because you're
I'm a
never,
firm
no.
believer in done is better
Yeah.
than perfect. I've got a note
Yeah.
on my computer and everything. I am
You
a firm
awesome.
believer.
Awesome. Very cool.
Okay, so what?
To that point, I had a question for you, Shannon, because it was one of the things that was in like when we, scheduled the form that you had put in. And
Yeah.
hold on, I'm gonna say it wrong, so let me go look at it.
Yeah.
Why doable is the secret to consistency and income. And I loved that
Mhm.
because like that speaks to who I am at the core. Like it
Yeah.
just needs to be doable. But can you
Right.
Yeah.
talk more about what you meant when you wrote that?
So I mean, if you are going to set up this elaborate system for yourself, so say you're writing your SOPs and you set up this big elaborate, it takes 50 different say you're publishing a podcast and you're using this software and that software and you're putting it together with this and you're putting it together with that. It's like, you're never going to want to do it again. You're going to do the first episode and go, oh my gosh, like what? And so doable means you set up the minimum viable sort of product, the minimum viable sequence, the minimum viable thing, and you tweak it from there. You launch it with, say you launch something with 3 email sequence and that's it. Okay, that's what you start with because it's launched and it's done and it's doable. Then you can go back and go, oh, this email needs a little tweaking. Maybe we could add another email that would speak to a different pain point or a different step in the buyer journey, something like that. And so you need to make things as easy for yourself as possible. That doesn't mean cut corners or things like that, but like recognize that doable is going to mean you're going to do it versus avoid it because it's way too many steps or way too complicated. Does that make more sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of times we give up in the steps, right? You're just like, oh, I can't. There's no way I could do this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not going to work.
Not going to happen. And then you'll avoid it. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm avoiding it. And I'm not getting anywhere. And I'm not making any money. And this doesn't work at all. Right? Like that spiral.
And I think too, another thing to realize when you're doing that is that the first time you do something, it's going to take you a lot longer than, the 15th time you do it or the 20th time you do it. You're going to get more efficient. So I don't think you can give up completely if it just seems like a long process. If the bear process seems long, it might just be that you're in the learning.
It's true. No, it's true. Do it a few times before you decide that it's not.
Well, and
no, it's true. I just did the SOP for my new podcast.
That done is better than perfect. Because I think that's I love that Adam Sobel, right? Is that his, am I getting the name right?
Yeah.
How he talked about his early videos where like he's embarrassed of them now, but he shouldn't be because like they're awesome but he's learned a lot. So he does great production, but that was the step he had to take, right? Like to get to where he is now. And I don't know, like I've been all about like this is how I trick myself into being productive now is I promise myself I only have to do it for 5 minutes. Right? Because I learned this like because I'm a runner, I don't often like to go run. Like I love running when I'm doing it. I don't like going to do it. So like I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna promise myself a mile. I just do a mile. If I'm not feeling it, I'll come home. I've never come home after a mile. So like that's how I trick myself into doing anything. I'm like, just do it for 5 minutes. Like I'm dreading this task. Just spend I'm only committing to doing 5 minutes. And then I'm time blind, so I never do just 5 minutes. But it's that notion of just removing the barriers, right? Like to doing it. And then and then when it's done, then you can go back and look at the process and be like, oh, well, if I'd been planning it perfectly, I would have thrown this in, and then it gets a little bit better in round 2.
Right.
So,
but sometimes we get stuck in the, oh, it's not perfect. And we tweak and we tweak and we tweak and we tweak and we never launch or we never release it to the world when it's helpful to somebody as it is, as you've created it. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Well, there's a second part to that saying, done is better than perfect. It's done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done.
Never gets done. That's right.
That's fair. Yeah. I've forgotten that actually. Yeah.
When I tell you on my computer, like literally on my desktop of my computer, I have that quote on there because I have to remind myself of that on a daily basis. And it's the first thing I see when I go to put my password in on my computer.
I love that. I love that because it is so easy to forget that, right? And just be like, no, I'm just going to keep making it better. And if no one ever
can make it better after it launches.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
You can add more value. Yeah.
The joy of the digital online world, right?
And I feel like, especially in our industry, it feels like every step that we have to do for whatever it is we're doing, whatever task we're taking on, has 14 micro steps.
Yeah.
Like, it's never just, check this box and then move on. You have to check this box and then go 14 other things to do before you can move on to the next step. So it can get overwhelming in our industry. And then once you learn all those steps, it's going to change.
Right.
Somebody changes something somewhere along the way.
Yes, it's true. The beautiful thing though is that you can go and change it and you can go make it better. Like I said, I wrote 2 traditionally published books and that was terrifying because I can't go back to those and swap out a picture or like revise something that I've learned since then. Like I can't change them. So yes, it's like overwhelming, but it's also really beautiful and amazing that we can go and make those tweaks and changes in the
Hmm.
online space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a great, I think that's a great thing to fully comprehend and understand the doable secret to consistency. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah.
So,
Yay.
have you made any mistakes along the way in your
Oh, of course.
I just set
Of
you up
course.
there.
Oh my gosh. Are you looking for any specific kind of mistakes?
Well, you spill whatever tea you want to spill.
Oh my goodness. There are, you know what? I said I wrote two books. I probably shouldn't have written the second one so close to the first one because I got super burnout and didn't have necessarily the
Mm.
systems in place to keep the rest of the business running. So that was not that the book itself was a mistake, not by any stretch, but that was a mistake not having, not seeing even that I needed better systems in place while I took step away. It was this perfect storm of I wrote the books, Google changed things, website traffic dropped, right? Like it was just this because I wasn't consistently posting content anymore, whatever. So there was that. I probably wouldn't write them so close together if
Hmm.
I were to go back. I tried to start a product line at one point, like a physical product line, without enough knowledge to know what the heck I was doing, which is
Mm.
fine. It was a learning experience, but it was also, um, yeah, not. I when you say mistakes, yes, they're just things that didn't work out and I learned from, really.
Yeah.
They're lessons. They're
That's
all I mean, you said it earlier, right? Like if it doesn't go well, it's not a failure, it's a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of the things I think were related to the whole squirrel thing where I was like, oh, well, I could try that and I could try that and I could try that without taking my now own advice of have something solid in place and going before you try and pivot to those other things.
well, and can I
So
just pause right there? Because
yeah.
I think a lot of people in our industry see somebody else doing something, whatever it is, whether it's
Mhm.
writing a book, launching a product line, launching a course, having a membership, whatever it is, right? We see somebody else doing it in a Facebook group. They're like, "Oh, I've had great success doing XYZ." And now you're like, "Well, I want to do XYZ too." They had great success. But what we don't know is what that other person quantifies great success as. It could be
Right.
they got one person in their membership. They sold one book. Like to them, that could be great success. For
Right.
me, great
Right.
success would be I need to sell 100 of those, not
Right.
one. Had I known that their great success was one, I probably wouldn't have gone down that path. So
Right.
I think
Right.
and I think sometimes when we compare ourselves and try to do what other people are doing, we lose sight of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then
For
we,
sure.
we don't experience the great success in our eyes.
It's true.
Or even if it really does match our version of great success, like you don't see, like, because we see it on the podcast all the time. People come and they share very generously, like their step-by-step system of what
Yeah.
exactly worked for them. But I mean, we talked to you for an hour, right? Like tops. And so we don't have time to cover all the other 8,000 things you did that contributed to like you coming up with that framework or
Right.
that is happening in your business that you don't even remember to talk about because it's automatic in your existence,
Hmm.
but
Right.
it's not in perhaps ours. So like people will do the step by step that someone's very like has not gate kept, right? Has been very generous with, and
Hmm.
the result may not be the same. Like
Right.
it
Right.
just may not. And this comes back to like the early part of your framework. Like you have to be crystal clear
Hmm.
on what your mission is, who you're serving, because if you don't align that with that new thing you try, like there will be a mismatch. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
think it's a very solid framework you've given.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
So
Yeah.
any other mistakes that you've made along the way?
Um, did I put one on the form that I'm forgetting?
No.
You know what? I'm sure there have been. I mean, there's always things, especially if you try all the things, right? I mean,
Sure.
I've worked with a gazillion brands and some of them worked well, some of them didn't. I've, you know, taken more than my share of online courses because I love to learn, but there is a little bit of that, oh, this worked for that person, so it will work for me too, when I didn't sort of pause and take the step back and go, maybe that's not even what I want right now, right? Like, and so I think this is a good reminder for me too, to make sure that I'm clear on my own stuff
Yeah.
because we get so bombarded. One of my friends just shared this morning on Instagram. She said, stop consuming so much and start creating more, right?
I
Like,
love
I think we
that.
get in this scrolling habit and we see all these things, and now there's all these ads that it's like, oh, this person sold this and this person did that, and I grew my business to like a million bazillion dollars in 3 days. Like,
Yeah.
and I think we internalize some of that when we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so if we're talking about mistakes I make, that's one of them, because I'm very easily distracted, I guess, by those shiny object things. And I have to keep coming back to myself and remind myself, truthfully, this is as much for me as it is for everybody else, to
Right.
focus on like what my goals are, what my season is, that sort
We
of
are
thing.
kindred spirits, Shannon. You are describing me to a T. If I were to open up my phone right now, my Facebook feed is full of
Yeah.
those ads of things
Yeah.
that I can do to make my business better and like
Yep.
all these things and that I should be doing that other people have made 7 and 8 figures doing, and I need to be doing it.
Yes. And then my brain gets this spiral
Yes.
and I feel like it goes zzz, zzz, and I'm done. Like I can't,
Yeah.
my creativity is gone and
Yeah.
zapped. Then like my to-do list is like, well, maybe that's not what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Right. And as I start this sort of newish ShannonAcheson.com website, I'm totally struggling with that along with everybody else because it's so much input all the time. And
Mhm.
so finding stronger bumpers against that, I don't know,
Yeah.
is super important.
So that's when you drop back and go back to the clarity ladder,
Yep.
and start working, climbing up the rungs of the ladder.
Yep. Right. Yeah. It's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
did we hit all of the rungs of the clarity ladder?
The last one is just validate what you've chosen against your time and energy.
Okay.
So sort of just go through and look at what it would take to do the thing that you've chosen to do, and will that work with your time and energy right now? And if not, just back up a step and sort of choose a different business model, a different sort of thing to create.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that makes total sense as the final step, and making sure that you've got a well-rounded idea and that it's fully vetted through your own lens.
As best as you can, right? Like you can't see,
It's not going to be
like,
perfect.
no, but as best as you can, make sure,
Mhm.
yeah, that
Yeah,
it's going to
because
work.
you can only control what you can control. There's so
Yeah.
many factors we have no
Yeah.
control over.
Yeah.
So the quiz, Shannon, on your site, does that help people figure out like their business, like what business system works for them? Like what exactly do they get out of that? Like
I
what,
have a couple of different quizzes
okay.
actually.
Ooh.
One is called the Unstuck quiz, that sort of works on some of that. One of them is a business personality quiz. So like, what's your business style or your business personality? And that helps with the which business model might work best for you kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
if you go to the website, shannonatcheson.com/freebies, there's a bunch of them
Oh, I'm going
there.
to go
So
take all the quizzes.
Awesome. I
yeah,
know.
there's 2 quizzes. And then I also have a low ticket idea bank for if you're going to create a low ticket product. There's like 100 ideas of what to create for that, and then 35 ways to get traffic without SEO. So yeah, so I had some fun creating these freebies because they're completely different worlds than the Homemade Lovely ones, right? Same, how to create a
Right.
quiz kind of thing is the same, but totally different. And so I had some fun creating these freebies.
That's
Very
awesome. I'm going to go
cool.
take all the quizzes. I love that.
I know I'm on the freebies page now looking. Lots of fun things here.
So you did mention that you have some ways to get started with digital products, even if you're overwhelmed or short on time. And we don't have a lot of time left for the podcast, but is there anything you'd like to talk about in that area?
Just that, I truly believe that a honestly low ticket digital product is a really good place to start if you're just dipping your toes in the world of, should I create a course? Should I create a membership? Should I whatever? Like they're pretty, I don't want to say they're easy to put together because that makes them seem invaluable, like not valuable, but you can choose a problem that your person has and choose a way to solve it for them in a very simple PDF, right? Like with action items and whatever it is, it depends on. So I have a blog post about it, and then I actually have an offer starter kit. It's my low ticket digital product that walks you through how to do it in in a few days, like step by step, how you choose your idea, what problem you can solve, and then what format that should look like, and then from there, how to sell it and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think the the thing to remember here is you're solving a problem for someone else, not yourself. Because so many
Yeah.
times we create, and when I say we, I mean me, like
Mm-hmm.
I've done this, creating a product that I think my
Mm-hmm.
readers want, and it's
Yeah.
maybe way off base.
Right.
Like I
This
may
is
not, because I'm projecting myself into there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very hard to not hard, but I mean, it's more difficult to remember to take yourself out of the equation and focus on what your readers want. I
Yeah,
think you
you
develop a more
yeah.
valuable product that way.
Yeah, there's tons of my Facebook feed is full of all the ones that say, "Hey, create this low ticket product and make XYZ amount of money." And I've looked at some of them and I've bought a couple of them just to see, and it's like there is next to no focus on solving a problem for your person. It's just the fact of you're going to make money from this thing,
Yeah.
whereas it will only make you money if you genuinely and truly solve a problem for your
Hmm.
person. And
right.
so that's something I've learned in the last little
Yeah.
while, like really it's really sort of settled in. And I'm like, oh yeah, because I have lots of low ticket products in my other
Mhm.
business too. But that's something that's really settled. It's like, no, it needs to solve a specific problem
And I
for them.
think
I
that
have, go ahead.
I think that's where you can really find value in fluffing up the cart value of your purchases. When you
Yes.
understand that, I mean, you understand what they want and you're solving their problems, you can then get, add the bump on, add the upsells on, and now your 4.99 low ticket offer, your cart is now 29.99
Yeah.
because you've so thoughtfully solved their problems. They just can't say no to you.
Right.
Well, and I
Yeah,
was going
that's
to
the
say,
goal.
Shannon did this very well on her product page. Like, if you go to her product page on her website, you're so in tune with what the person landing there needs, and you walk them through it. Like, I'm looking at the four products, like at the
Thank you.
top, right? Like, so you've got
Yeah.
your offer starter kit, right? The person that doesn't know what they're going to create. To the sales page formula, because that's the very next problem they have. Like, I've created it. How am I going to sell it? Then she goes into the first sale playbook. So, okay, now you've got the sales page. How am I going to actually get people here and sell it? And then into the simple evergreen sales plan. Like, this is so exactly the process someone would go through. Like, because
Yeah.
Christina and I love a good tripwire. We love a good
Yeah.
My favorite. So good.
this is exactly the system that like
Yeah.
we've all walked through. Like it's so clear. And the fact that these are all like very affordable and it's very next step. Like as soon
Yeah.
as someone finishes that offer starter kit, they're going to land at, oh God, now I've got to sell it. How am I going to
Yeah.
do a sales page?
Yeah.
It's brilliantly laid out. I love it.
And thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I did it that way too, rather than putting it all in one big one so that it wasn't so overwhelming too, right?
Mhm.
Or if
Right.
someone, yeah,
And you
just,
have
You're
to
making that
you
next step so easy to take.
but
mm,
you have to spend the time focusing on the individual steps. I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
so it's kind of built in that way that it forces you to focus on the step that you're in. So,
yeah. There's no bouncing around from,
yeah.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Shannon, if our listeners want to learn more about you or grab these quizzes and freebies and all this great information that you have, where is the best place for them to find you?
The best place is shannonatcheson.com, and Acheson is spelled Acheson.
Okay. And we'll be sure to include that in the show notes so you
Okay.
can easily find it and go visit Shannon. We highly recommend that you do that
Definitely.
because we could
Thank
talk
you.
for hours with her. At least I
Thank
could.
you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Shannon. This has been a great conversation. I have again a whole page of notes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So listeners, if you want to take action on what we talked about today, grab like any one of her gazillion freebies on shannonatchison.com/freebies. We'll put the link in the show notes. She's got plenty of information there that's like going to help you work through this process and get to the next level.
Yep. And we'd love to hear from you. So tag us on Instagram at the Smart Influencer with your biggest takeaway from today, or just drop us a DM and let us know how you're applying what you've learned.
Thank you for spending time with us today. We'll be back next week with another episode to help you grow smarter, work less, and earn more. See you then.